G'day, legends. Welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me tonight is Willie. How you going, Willie?
Going all right, Jared. It's been pretty cold. We're in the midst of winter here, so 10 to 15 degrees through the day. The people in Scotland will be thinking, what am I complaining about? But it's been pretty cold the last few days, so struggling on through it all.
Just to keep the topic going then, Willie, we had a heat wave in Melbourne for the winter, 19 degrees today and sunny. It was absolutely magic. Can't go
Brilliant.
wrong with that. So, brilliant day. Yeah, thanks for hosting last week when I was traveling for work. Appreciate that. So I just wanted to say that. Listen back. Had a bit of a chuckle here and there and was trying to figure out what the hell are these guys talking about and a couple other things. So it was good fun.
Uh, we drifted from conversation and we managed to pad out an hour, so we didn't do just too badly, like, you know what I mean? Ended up with a bit of a suicide watch at the end of it after getting all ranting and that done, but we got there in the end.
That's the main thing. So, yeah. What top's that you're wearing, Willie? Is that the training top or the pre-game warm-up top or what one?
Right, it's an Adidas Originals one. I'm
Nice.
not sure what it is. It's just a training drop or whatever. I don't know.
I can't keep track of them all. It's like every 20 minutes the club's announcing more merch is coming out, so
Mhm.
I've got no idea what's what anymore. The only thing I love about that is the old trefoil logo on it.
Yeah,
That's class. Like, come on, Adidas, bloody step your game up and do something for us. If you're going to expect
more.
us to spend hundreds each, then bloody give us one of them on the top.
Yeah, more of that, please, for sure.
Yeah, more of that and less of this season's away top or the third kit even.
Yeah, I don't mind the away top. I actually bought the away top. I quite like it, but it's each to their own. The third kit, I'm not keen on. The coleslaw kit, I've been hearing it getting called
It's kind
about.
of funny. It's funny, Willie, because you're that way, but then I look at the away kit and I'm like, it looks good on the field, but I can't
Yeah,
get my head around the collar.
yeah.
So for me,
I
I'm like,
think
nah, won't buy it for that collar. But you say coleslaw kit for the third kit, I would contemplate buying that. You know, the only reason it looks like some kids coloured it with crayons, first of all, but second
yeah,
of all, I put that in the same bucket as the one from a couple of years ago, like the turtle looking outfit, where it, I look at it and go, it's that bad now, but in 20 years' time, it's going to be a bit of a cult classic. So
yeah,
I'd be like, I'd grab that and just have it, so I've got it in the future in the same way that I did with the other one. Because yeah, like remember the old green one with the People's logo, like that was hideous at the time. There was all sorts of comments back then as well, but now you look at it and you're like,
yeah.
yeah, that's class. It's a bit of a retro one, so that's what I'm thinking anyway.
You never know which way they'll go. You know what I mean? I see some tops and I just think, no, that's never going to work. And then all of a sudden it goes like hotcakes. Then you get other tops that are just, I don't know, the wasp top. Remember it? I really liked that, but nobody liked it. Like, you
Was
remember Dan
is
was
that the
top.
New Balance one? Black and yellow.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody liked it, but I did for some reason. Like, so you never
New
know.
Balance had a few good ones though. Like there was that
Yeah,
pink away one that they had, but with the black shorts and the pink away, and that was class. But then the grey and pink was an absolute abomination to anything Celtic related. Like that was just disgraceful. But then, and I've never haven't really been a fan of grey ones. But then you see the grey kit from a few years back, and it was like, yeah, okay, it's a bit crap. The grey one with the fluoro yellow on it and everything. I'm like, I'm not going to get that. And then we have one great come from behind victory, and I'm like, yeah, I bought it last night.
uh,
Yeah, good
and New
fun.
Balance did have a good few kits. Like I like the green away kit. You know, it was like a hooped one, but it was two different shades of green. I really
Yeah,
liked that one. I thought it was pretty cool. Like,
I've got that sitting behind this flag over there in a tub of different Celtic tops with brown 8 on the back. First player's name and number I ever got on any top in my life.
uh,
Yeah, so they did some good ones. And that season where they had that kit, the home kit was also class as well. So yeah, New Balance had some good ones. They also had a few where they just looked like tea towels. But anyway, we
uh,
get there in the end. So
was that the
yeah,
one?
what's that, Willie?
Was that the one with the gold trims on it? Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
gold logo on that. Yeah, that was kind of cool top. Like,
Those 2 tops were pretty much the same design, but it was just the home kit was the green hoops with the white as usual, and
mm,
then the away, it was the where the white was, it was a darker green. So it was the same kit, same trim, same everything.
Yeah.
So that was class. Like, I saw that and I was like, "Yep, done." That was one of only 2 seasons in the last decade I bought every kit released that in a season. I bought both of them, and the other one was our first year at Adidas where we had the black one, we had the I can't remember. We had the Love Street look like one, and then we had the first hoops with the yellow trim. Got all of them as well.
Yeah.
Pity that was a 10 in a row choke job season.
Yeah. No. Beware the yellow trim.
Who would have thought we'd talk kits for 5 minutes? Like, I don't
I
normally get
know.
into this sort of stuff, but it's a slow news week at the moment. Celtic haven't pulled their finger out and done anything. We now know how our opponents are going to be for the Champions League qualifiers, so we'll just have a chat about that for a bit, Willie. Then we'll
Yeah.
talk about European football in general. Then we'll get into the game against Falkirk and wrap the pot up there. So, first of all, thanks for everyone who's tuning in. Those in the comments. G'day, Smell the Glove. G'day, Square Sausage Mick and McLaughlin. Happy days. Oh, jeez, look at his. I always look out for that. See what you've changed your picture to. So that's class. And yes, Smell the Glove. Get it right up, Spurs. 100%. We Diddy Club. Delusions of Grandeur. Yep. They didn't win a trophy last year. That was Ange. There you go. I said it. But yeah, we've got Kairat Almaty from Kazakhstan. So bit of a weird trip. I think, what is it, about 12-hour flight from Glasgow over to Almaty for the game, just pretty close to the Chinese western border, so far on the eastern side of Kazakhstan. You and me, Willie, in Australia and in New Zealand are actually closer to where that game's being played than the people back in Glasgow. That is ridiculous. How is that a European?
Nuts. That. I know. I mean, you got Auckland FC who finished top of the league in the A League, and they can't play in the Asian Champions League because New Zealand's not technically in the Asian region yet. They can get an Asian team playing in the Champions League. Make that make
That's
sense to me, please.
got no idea, mate. No idea. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I named the pod tonight Frequent Flyer Miles because realistically, Celtic is going to be racking them up for their players going there and back. So it's going to be a bit of a. Oh, jeez, McLaughlin's comment. Do they sacrifice goats on the pitch, Kyrat? Who knows, mate? Who knows? And we're off and running. Lovely. Yeah, so we're going in our group chat today. We had a bit of a chat about it all, but yeah, it was some interesting stuff there. But you did a bit of a rundown on them, Willie. So do you want to grab your notes and go on that, or do you want me to just read out what you said?
I've got a few extras, but you can read out what I said to begin with, and we'll
You
see what
jumped off
else.
the back. So
Yeah.
basically, Willie said there are 2 Israeli caps in their team, 2 Belarusian caps, 2, and the rest are Kazakh. After watching our ability to defend in Europe, Russia Dortmund aside, I think we will have too much for this team. And then they got 4 Brazilians, 2 are injured, one's 37. They're all forwards. They got a couple of Portuguese too. Their Kazakh young forward, Sapev, however you say it, is the highest valued player at 1.8 million euro. And then the rest of the stuff that you said was they're technically adept, possession-oriented team built to control games and attack primarily through dynamic wingers and strong central striker. They're proactive with a high press but carry inherent risks defensively, particularly against quick transitions. Their strengths lie in ball retention, attacking with set pieces, and individual quality in the final third. However, they can be vulnerable to counters, physical battles, and occasional inconsistency. Sounds like us, Willie.
Does a wee bit, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah. And then you've got overcoming well-organised defensively, solid or physically imposing teams going to be their biggest challenge. They're 19 games into their season, 3 points clear at the top, 13 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats. Last 5, 2 wins, 2 draws, and a defeat. What else you got to add there, Willie?
I was looking at the domestically, they seem to play a variation of the 4-2-3-1, but in Europe they've sort of played 4-3-3 away with a 4-3-2-1 at home against KUPS Coops and Slovan Bratislava. They played a more 4-3-3 against Olympia Ljubljana, but they aren't really a free scoring side other than teams at the bottom of their domestic league, they beat by 4 goals. They usually win their games 2-1, 2-0, 1-0. The odd goal here and there. They're not, which also shows they don't really concede many goals either. As you were saying, the boy Dastan Satpiev is their star player, but he's already been snuffled up by Chelsea apparently. And as soon as he turns 18, he's going to sign a professional deal with them. So there's talent in the side. They know how to grind out results domestically, and obviously they've come through 3 qualifying rounds, so that's 6 games so far, and they've done all right. So there'll be a decent opposition, but I think we'll have too much in the locker for them. To be honest with you, if we can get the business done at Parkhead, get a 3 or 4 goal cushion, go over there, I think we'll be able to handle it out there. I mean, years gone by, I've been worried about away European performances, but watching us last season in the Champions League, we did okay against teams away from home. Like I say, Borussia Dortmund aside, we did all right away from home in Europe last season. So for me, I think we'll have more than enough to see off this tie.
Yeah, same here. I think we're going to win the tie, but it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. So, yeah, I think for me, the first leg being at home, I don't have a problem with that. I actually think it's the smart way to do it. Like with a seeded team, you think the seeded team would play the second leg at home. That's what you would think because you got the advantage. But the fact that we're at home first, I actually rather that because they've got to travel all the way over. They're going from playing in a stadium with 24,000 people there or something like that, and half the crowd are goats and Borat's cousins and stuff like that, right? And then you've got us with our 60,000 on top of them. Just
Yeah.
let's hope they're like deer in headlights and just get a bit of stage fright, and then we can just get out there, get a few goals, smack them around a bit, and then not put our cue in the rack, but get on the plane, go all the way over there, and get on with it. Like, good comment here from Smell the Glove is saying at least Hatade, Maeda, AJ, and CCV are well used to long flights. You can add Trusty into that as well because he's American international. Yeah, so I think that's a bit of a nice thing for us there as well. It's not going to be too much of an issue with the travel. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a interesting thing there. Pegleg saying here the fans going over there will be sacrificing 800 quid.
Easy. And the rest.
John Cairns is saying it's danger for us. I worry about our lack of forward talent and depth going into the UCL provided we progress past this playoff. I think we've got enough to get through this playoff. I would prefer it because the team list has to be lodged today. So we have to have our 25-man squad in, but we can always add 2 more signings. So if we somehow, where that rundown that you gave, Willie, where it was saying that they can be got at with speed and everything, if we have made it through the middle and we somehow manage to sign a left and a right winger, bring them in as your 2 new signings, and that way we can do that, then we can get at them and that can cause them some problems. But if we've got to play Eder through the middle against them, I don't know about it. I'd rather have Johnny Kenny in the middle with Days on the outside and someone else on the right wing. We're going to have to get something in, but we can add 2 more.
And we know we can add 2 more players, and we need to get them in. So we know what will happen at Celtic. We'll get a merch drop, and that'll be it for the week.
I think what have we got? It's Thursday now. When are we playing? Friday night. So, all right. Before our next pod on Monday, Willie, we're going to have. It's going to be like at least 2 happy birthday tweets from the club.
Yeah.
Going to be 2 emails about merch, and there's going to be an ad trying to get people to sign, an email trying to get us to sign up for Celtic TV. That's what I'm thinking we're going to get. So 5 things between now and then.
Quite possible, like.
That's a stock standard week for us, really.
Yeah.
And then we've got Craigie Watson general sales tickets today from 3 p.m. onwards for the match. There you go. Pegleg saying their game was in Bratislava too. That's a huge amount of travelling in a week. So, yeah, they're Bratislava, then they go home. Game's not till, like, there's this weekend off, and then it's like 10 days till the game or something like that anyway. So,
it works both ways, that travel thing. You know what I mean? It's what, a 9, 12 hour flight, depending on the direction you're going. It'll be the same for them coming this way. Like, and what's the chances of them sitting on a luxury liner? I mean, the last time we flew out to Kazakhstan, apparently we were on, was it Madonna or Lady Gaga's jet, where they all had beds and that. They're all stretched out. It was quite a comfortable flight over there. So it might be different for them coming to Glasgow. And then, as you say, you got the intensity at Parkhead, like to contend with. So hopefully that will get on top of them. We can get on top of them and just turn the result over in the first leg. Get,
Yeah.
like I say, get a 3 or 4 goal cushion. And just head on back over there, head over to there, and just see what we can do out there.
Yep, 100%. So just going through here, Heavy Vibes are saying, do we want to get into Champions League with this squad? We'll come back to that one, Willie, because that ties into one of the next things I want to talk about. But we'll just go through a couple other comments here. So Pinball saying, get a lead and play every centre half we have in a proper low block out there. RL77 saying, does Borat still play for them? I think he's in goals as their backup or their backup keeper. But the thing is, I was going to say, if you get to Parkhead for the game, right, and you look in the crowd and there's Rod Stewart, and then over the other side, Sacha Baron Cohen, and he's not dressed up. He comes to the game and he's not dressed up as Borat. I'd be devastated. Yeah, that's going to be a bit full on. So running through it, the Borats will have had to flown back to Bratislava, then back to Almaty, then to Glasgow in a week. And then McLaughlin's saying they've also travelled to Finland recently, must catch up with them eventually. The only time they've played in Europe was the Conference League a couple of years back. They played at that equivalent level. So they're well and truly punching above their weight at the moment with how they're going. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, Stephen Ray's saying, I see Fabian Ride's up for grabs again for a potential cut price deal after Stuttgart didn't take up their loan or buy option. He was linked to Celtic previously. We need a right winger. If we can get him in, Stephen, I would be absolutely stoked. That's all I'm going to say. Like, that is the exact sort of player we need and level that we need, and I'm all for that. What do you think, Willie?
Oh, Fabian Reader. I mean, when I first came on board with the Celtic Down Under and joined you, I think Fabian Reader was one of the names that was heavy linked with us. And I started watching videos on YouTube, and it was a player I was very excited about. And it was one that he had a quick pass forward on him. He had an eye for a pass, you know what I mean? At the time, I thought he was a sort of midfielder who would complement Kyogo really well and catch those darting runs forward. But yeah, I'd definitely be interested in it. I mean, the abilities there in the boy, whether it's worked out for him. I think he went to France. Was it Rennes or something like that? And then off to Stuttgart after that. So
Yeah,
whether it's not worked out at Stuttgart, there's still definitely talent there, and it's something we could definitely utilise.
I see Brendan Rodgers being able to get that talent out of him.
Definitely, like.
Fabian Riddle, here we go. Let's have a look on the Wikipedia. Swiss footballer born 2022. So he's not even that old. He's like 23 years old.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, he went. Current team's Rennes. There you go. So he went from young boys to Rennes, and then on loan to Stuttgart. 21 games, 1 goal. So he played 15 games at Rennes. Yeah, if we can get him in, get him in.
Yeah, definitely, like 100%.
Just got a couple more comments. Andrew Galea, are we going to be loaning out our latest Japanese boys? I don't know, to be honest with you. I think, yeah, Inamura should potentially be Tierney's backup, but I don't know if Brendan rates him or maybe we want to put him on loan for a season in Scotland, toughen him up a bit. Who knows? But anyway, here we go. Stephen Ray is also saying Kazakhstan kept its UEFA status after the breakup of the Soviet Union. There you go. And G-Doc saying they'll be kicking off at midnight their time at Celtic Park, so playing until 2 a.m. And then the equivalent for us is when we're over there, I think it's like a 5:45 kickoff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, I think Brendan keeps the boys on the same timeline. You know what I mean? He doesn't really go changing the clocks and that. He'll keep us on the same timeline as we have here. So when we go out there, it'll be like you say, it'll be a 4 o'clock kickoff or whatever. So it'll be just like a Saturday or any other sort of game we normally play in at the weekend. So
exactly.
it'll be where it's arse for tit for them. They're coming over here, and it's going to be fucking middle of the night sort of stuff for them.
Yep, 100%. So back to the next thing I wanted to say, and this is ties into it before we get into that question from Heavy Vibes, but with the distance we need to travel for this tie, I wanted to discuss, Willie, what the impact of European competition is on Celtic's domestic performances, both at this point in the season with qualifiers and then also throughout the season. So for me, the travel at the moment is with qualifiers, it's not that bad for us because it's only one round of qualifiers. Next year, it could be two or three rounds, if my memory is right. I think it's 3 rounds of qualifiers, so it becomes a bigger issue there, right? But for me, going all the way to Kazakhstan, then coming back, and then having to go to Ibrox, I'd rather go to Kazakhstan than Ibrox. Like, let's be honest.
Hmm.
um, it's one of those sort of things where I just think the travel. The guys are all professional footballers; they travel the year round, so it shouldn't be as big an issue now. But what it does is it cuts into training time. If you've got to travel and then more recovery times needed, less training, particularly leading up to the derby, that's the biggest impact for me here. What's your thoughts, Willie?
I am concerned about the results after European games. That's when we generally drop points. I don't think we did it too many times last season. There was a couple of sticky games after it, but the flight to Kazakhstan, it is a long flight and it is a long flight back, so it might take its toll. But going into Ibrox again, their form's honking too. So they've got an away tie in Brugge to contend with just before the game too. So they might come in back off a back of a hiding. So it could go up in the air, but no, I don't think we have the proper squad depth to be handling playing European football midweek and then coming back and playing because we seem to have a first starting 11 at the moment. You know, we have a first team and then we have what's left, and we just rotate people in and out as they tire during the game, which you'll get more of after a European fixture. So you would like to have a squad there that you could rotate other players in and out of, but we just don't have that depth at this moment in time, which is what's concerning me most at this present moment. It's just if we're like an injury away from a Dyson Maeda or somebody. Well, midfield maybe not so much, like, but KT is another one. If he gets injured or Dyson Maeda gets injured, that whole left side of the pitch looks a lot weaker. And if it's a lengthy injury, then it's going to be a lot weaker for a longer time. Like so, yeah, concerns in that one.
Yeah, so realistically, Willie, to jump onto something like that, usually you'd need to have a good squad of about 18 or 19 players, right? And then you can have the young kids to fill out the last few roles there. So I've just had a look at the squad from the Aberdeen game on the weekend. Guys who should be regular guys making appearances off the bench. So I said on Monday, James Forrest should be a fifth string winger who can cover on both. If someone's injured, then he becomes a backup while someone's out. So realistically, the 10 other starters would classify as Champions League level starters. Like Adam Eder, I'd probably have him as an impact player off the bench for Champions League, but he can still do it at that level. But then looking at the rest of the bench, Trusty, yep. McCowan, Champions League level, no. Yamada, we don't know. Engels, yes. Ralston, he's done it a few times, but he's good enough for Scotland, probably not Champions League level backup. Sinosalo, we don't know. Yang, not good enough. Kenny, not for the Champions League. Bernardo, I don't know what the hell's going on there at the moment. So realistically, we've got 13 or 14 players. So we're three or four short. We don't have those impact players on the bench. We need at least three. When Jota comes back in, that gives you one more. So we need someone to come on loan to cover for Jota for the next 6 months. And then we need two guys on the left. We need another striker or Dazen to go back to striker. And yeah, and then we suddenly have some options. And then the travel for Europe, it's not as bad as like last year. We're able to rotate. So usually where we go play away in Europe, then we come back. Say the Atalanta game, for instance, last season, that would have been the one where we'd go over there, we'd get a nil-all draw, we'd come back, we'd go up to like Ross County or something like that, and we'd drop points. Or we'd go to Inverness or we'd go to Aberdeen or wherever, St Johnson, and we'd drop points. We didn't have that last year because we had enough squad depth there that we could rotate players in and out and cover it so that, say, we play in Europe and Greg Taylor has run himself ragged. We've got Alex Via to come in. or we got Kyogo starting, we've got Eder as your backup, or on the right you've got Kun there. If he comes off, you've got Jamesy, you got other players there that can rotate and cover on both. So it wasn't really an issue. I think defensively we're strong enough to do that, still rotate. Midfield we're strong enough and still rotate. Up front we're going to be. That's the potential the travel can get to you guys, especially when we press the way we do and the speed we play at. We can't expect Jamesy to be playing 60, 70 minutes every week. We can't be expecting Dazen to be on the wing playing 90 minutes every week while being on a plane. He'll burn out or get injured eventually. I know some of his performances are not human, but we can't expect it from him every week.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a tough one.
Yeah, definitely. Like, board need to be sitting up and taking notice of this because they're playing jeopardy with it again, like as they always do when it comes to Champions League qualifiers. I think I said it to Jared last week. They seem to go with the notion that if you qualify, we'll buy all the players you want. When it should be the other way around, and they should be saying to Brendan, "What do you need to qualify?" Not, I just don't get it. I just don't get how they play jeopardy with it season after season.
Yeah, they're all over the spot, really. They don't know what they're doing. The way they do it is you play risk versus reward. 90% of the other clubs out there will speculate to accumulate. Look at what the Huns are doing. They're spending,
Yeah.
trying to improve so that they can get into and qualify into the Champions League.
Yep.
So they're doing that. And I hate comparing us to them, but it's kind of like they are the example of they will speculate to accumulate. They'll spend money they don't have to try and get in, where our guys will be like, oh, we made 40-something million in the Champions League last year. We have 120-odd million sitting in the bank. We're wasting £6 million a year in interest payments to the bank, like tax on interest payments. That's a Cameron Carter-Vickers. That's a Jota the first time we signed him. Every year we're just paying in extra tax we don't need to because we won't spend some bloody money. So why aren't we strengthening the club, as you're saying? What do we need to get into the Champions League? Okay, cool. Let's do that. Because you've got all that money I'm talking about. And then you've got the Kun money that's come in. He's been gone for a month. And we already needed another winger before that. So, and then you sell your starting winger and you're relying on a 34-year-old Jamesy Forrest there to do that? Come on. This board is not fit for purpose.
It's just so infuriating. I mean, you just need to have one look at our forward line, and you realise that you got Yang starting as a potential first team player, and you got Tilio on the bench. And no disrespect to Tilio, he's a decent enough footballer. He's just not ready. He's just not at Celtic's level, and neither is Yang. And the board seem quite content and say, "Oh, there's you've got two wingers for the right wing. What are you going to do? We need a left winger. Or we might get you someone on loan because Jota's there, and he's going to come back, and you've got Dyson." There just seems to be no. They're just so regressive. And I mean, they're so reactive. We need to be a proactive team. You know what I mean? We need to be moving forward. And we say it time and time again. Their main aim is to be 1 point ahead of Rangers at the end of the season. That's all they care about. Whereas we're looking at progressing and becoming, year in, year out, augmenting the squad and just making sort of incremental improvements as this incremental increase in spending, incremental increase in wages, and try and stay as a Champions League side. Club Brugge is a prime example of that. They've been in the Champions League for the last 4 or 5 seasons, you know what I mean? And I think they got to the last 32 last season, you know what I mean? That's the kind of club we should be looking at or aspiring to be. But we're not. We're just happy to be, if we qualify every 5 years or so, that'll be great. But we'll put our budget to a Europa League side, and then maybe that'll be the best for us. They just don't seem to really care about what the supporters want, and they don't seem to care about how to progress the club. It's just risk averse. It just does my head in, like, big time, Matt.
I'll go in two-footed here, Willie. Real simple. I've said it before. We're an analog club in a digital world. Okay, that's the easiest way to sum it up. The fact of the matter is, there's a few things that it could be. One, the board's having a standoff with Brendan. Sign a new contract and we'll back you. Or Brendan, and then Brendan saying, well, back me, and then I'll sign a new contract. So it could be that. If it's not that, it could be that the club is looking at the recruitment staff going, these are players you spent big money on last season. Like Eder, Engels, Trusty, £24 million on them. None of them are guaranteed starters at the moment. So, do we trust our recruitment staff enough to spend money on players? So that's what the board's looking at, and then they're trying to, they treat us like we're customers. Not There's no emotional thing. We're just people coming to the shop to buy a bunch of milk from them. That's the way I look at it. They're trying to milk us dry for
Yeah.
merchandise. Adidas drops here, get more money from us when people are doing it tough out there. So you look at that, and then you look at the breakdown and the lack of spend. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is where a club like Celtic needs to have like a director of football or a technical director there, because I'm sick of these money people overruling football people. At the end of the day, are we a football club first? Yes, we are. So the money that we're all putting in, people putting in for their season books, for all the merch, then you're wanting ticket packages for Champions League games and all that. That money is coming into the club, should be going into not necessarily all of it, because you're going to have expenses. I get it, but we should be reinvesting that into the squad. We need football people there who actually know what they're doing and can say to the board, cut the shit, get out of it. What's the budget? Okay, you've given me a £30 million budget for this year. Great. How we spend that is and our wage budget and our money, how we spend that you have nothing to do with. You set the budget and then stay in your lane and let this football person, and whether it's the director of football and your manager, figure out what positions do we need to strengthen, who do we want, and bring them in and get them in early. And then any sales we have, say if they gave us 25 million as the budget, and then you go and sell Kun for 16 million, you got 41 to play with. Cool, even better. We've got wage budget, we've got money there. Let's go and get some players in. We could get 4 players at 10 million a pop. Bang. Suddenly our team is good enough to, not just in the Champions League this year, but next year, good to go. We need people with a football brain running the show, not these bean counters trying to tell us, oh no, we can't spend more than 3 million because otherwise we've got to run it past Dermot Desmond, blah, blah, blah. It's absolute bullshit.
The thing is, we could have had an extra player last season if the board had got their act together and signed the players in time. Engels, we could have got Engels for 6 million. You know what I mean? Paid 11 for him, so there's 5 million. Adam Ida, I mean, we paid 9 million for him. If the board sorted their shit out at the beginning, or when the loan deal was done, we could have got him for 4 or 5 million. You know what I mean? There's another 5 million. That's 10 million. That is a quality first team player. It's just we can't. That's money gone that we're never going to get back because the board decided let's wait till the end of the window when they'll be desperate to sell, and instead of paying 6 million, we'll get him for 3 million. Well, no, you played the game, you got caught, and you get your fingers burnt, and you ended up paying double for players who. Adam Ida's not a £9 million striker, and it seems to be weighing on him now. This price, I don't know, is it weighing on him or not? But it certainly seems to be a bugbear for a lot of supporters that we paid 9 million from him. It's not Adam Ida's fault we have massive windows in the Norwich boardroom and they saw us coming. It's just what it is, you know what I mean? The board decided to leave it till the very last minute, and when they did the loan deal for him, they didn't put the option to buy clause in, and they've nobody to blame but themselves for it.
The board got caught with their dicks in their hands. It's pretty simple. That's the
Yeah.
easiest way to sum it up. Why do we do this to ourselves repetitively? It makes no sense, and it just frustrates the living shit out of me because we should be better than that. And you said Club Brugge before, and the thing is, if they get in the Champions League, this will be their 7th straight year in the Champions League, Willie.
Yeah,
And they're
I
gradually
knew it was high.
building it up. And the thing is, I look at that and go, if they can do it, why can't we?
Exactly.
Yes, they have a better TV deal, but they don't have the fan base and the money coming in from their fan base like we all do.
Yeah.
We're over here in Australia and New Zealand. We can't physically be in the stadium, so I support the club by buying tops, by buying merch, by putting whatever I can into the club every year. So at the end of the day, and I know there's thousands of us who do the same in Australia, in America, in Japan, New Zealand, all through Southeast Asia. There's heaps of the Celtic fan base is global. We are a global club being held back by our board because of their own egos, basically, and it's just frustrating. we should be at least at a Club Brugge level. We should be at
Yeah,
Salzburg, Brugge, Ajax. That's Benfica. That's the sort of level we should be at as a bare minimum. But, our board is too busy playing with their dicks and being, oh yeah, as long as we beat Rangers, that's all that matters because they want to make sure the money's there so they get their nice little payouts on their dividend at the end of the season.
yeah.
Piss poor.
Part of me thinks the board don't want managers like Brendan Rodgers or Ange Postecoglou there because they will push for improvement. Whereas I don't know. I just get the impression that they don't. People who rattle cages don't fit the mold with Celtic. You just sort of everyone has to have a lane and they stay in it. And as long as Peter Law and Dermot Desmond are controlling everything, then it doesn't matter. But I don't know.
I'll be honest
It
with you,
gets me.
Willie. What you're saying is spot on because if I was Brendan, I wouldn't be coming back or extending. No chance. And you look at it and go, so what's this whole pathway manager we brought in? Someone with a
Mm,
bit of a big rap who went and had a couple of bad moves in Sean Maloney.
yeah. What's he doing there? I mean,
You know what
puts a
he's there
feeling
for?
left.
He's there to be in the door for 12 months to
Yeah,
either take over for Brendan if he doesn't sign up or be there until he gets recruited to go elsewhere. And heard
yeah.
on some other channel, I can't remember what it was, but I know Ryan 118 was on that channel. And he's getting interviewed and he goes, yeah, well, eventually John Kennedy's going to probably get the job. I'm like, you can't go from Brendan and Ange and Brendan again to a John Kennedy just because he's been at the club for 25 years as a coach and an assistant manager,
Mm,
or Sean Maloney. I mean, like, come on. There's going to be other coaches out there that are just as good as Ange was in terms of in other leagues that no one really knows about, who'd be able to come in. I'm not saying as good a coach as him across the board. I'm saying they can come in and make an impact at Celtic the way he did.
yeah. Listen, the mood music from Brendan at the moment isn't good either. Like you listen to what you watch all his press conferences and that. There's clearly an issue with him at the minute as well. Like he's clearly pissed off with the way things are going, and he's clearly not happy. And that's why I said last week to Gerard, I says, look, there's a good chance, like come the end of the season, that will be Sean Maloney and John Kennedy as caretaker managers with Brendan nowhere near away again because he's just had enough of just being fucking far arsed about by the board who don't really take him seriously as a manager. They'd happy just provide him with the odd player here and there. Right, here's a young, he's top player from South Korea. See what you can do with that. You know what I mean? It's not there doesn't seem to be the right support for Brendan from the board. I mean, he says he has a good relationship with Paul Tisdale, but we get to see any Paul Tisdale signings come forward. Like so, until that happens, and we can actually say it, until the players do come in that Tisdale is scouted and signed, we can say, yeah, okay, I can see where this is going. But something tells me Brendan won't be there at the end of the season.
I don't even think we can talk about Paul Tisdale because, as I said, Willie, like he could be out there scouting these players, and they could be absolute class for exactly what we need. And Brendan's wanting
Yeah,
him, but then the board's looking at going, yeah, but we'd have to spend 9 million on this player or 8 million on this player. Why would we do that when we can go get you two players for 3 million each or whatever, or three players at 2 million a pop, and if one of them works and we make good money on it, then that's the business model.
yeah.
That's non-football people making decisions that they shouldn't be. There are emitters all sorts of wrong here. So it's just a nightmare at the end of the day how it's all
Mm.
playing out. But I wanted to go to this next one, and it ties into that question early on. If God forbid we don't qualify for the Champions League, if somehow we choke, right? Do you think that Celtic can win the Europa League? And what would it take for us to do that? Now, I'm going to bring up a comment from Square Sausage Mick here, and he's saying, question, did Rodgers improve us in the Champions League or not? I'd suggest he clearly did, so why not back him more? Exactly, 100% agree with you there, Mick. But if we there you go, Heavy Visor saying board paying 1990s fees for players. So it's one of them ones where I'm looking at it going, if we weren't to make the Champions League and we went in the Europa League, What is possible, Willie? Do you think we could win it?
I don't know. Not with the forward line we have, no. No, not at all. But I think we could go deep into the competition. And if we sign a decent striker and some wingers, then there is a chance we could make the quarters or semis of it. I'd be happy, and I'd be happy to get to that sort of stage with it. But with the forward line we have right now, we would make the knockout rounds and we wouldn't progress from there.
Reason I'm asking the question, Willie, is real simple. I agree with exactly what you said. We have to still strengthen those same areas because what I'm looking at is we drew 0-0 with Atalanta last year, who won the Europa League the year prior and got in the Champions League that way. If we've got 3 stages of qualifiers to get through next season to get to the Champions League, and you look at it and go, all we're going to need is a striker, some wingers, and spend about another £20 million, right, to strengthen the squad enough to potentially challenge and win the Europa League. Why wouldn't you do it? Because you need the players anyway. Worst case scenario, the
Yeah.
players come in, they play in Europa for a season. You know they can cut it at that level, but you win that thing. Not only do you get a trophy, but you potentially are into the Champions League. So you're skipping some stuff. So it's a bit of it's a possibility there. Ah, geez, this dinner's like uncomfy there, Willie. So I was trying to make a point. And I'm like, no, don't do that. So it's one of those things where I think we could. I think it's possible, but it's still the exact same spot we're in. We've got to recruit players.
Yeah. Well, recruitment, it's all about recruitment, but we don't do it. We wait until we get to the desperation, and then you're just like, oh, well, there's a week left of the window. If we get a left winger on loan for 6 months, that'll keep us going until Jota's back, and then we might be able to loan another right winger and see how he goes. And you just you're just bargaining with yourself over it all. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, this will be all right, and that'll be all right, and then before you know it, you're accepting mediocrity again. Like, and it's not good at the moment, and the board need to read the room and realise that supporters are frustrated and not happy at the way things are going. I mean, the chances are Friday night's game, Saturday morning for me here. There's going to be somebody outside the ground that's going to get their phone out, and the Peter Law is going to be going, Peter, where's all the bloody signings? He's, calm down, they're coming again, and they might all come in. You know what I mean? A week before the window closes, we might get the players that are needed to progress the club to the next level. But right at this moment in time, I would say no. And the chances are that we're going to go into the squad, the full season, we're going to start the season with maybe 2 loan signings coming in, and that'll probably be it for the window.
The thing, Willie, for me is I'm looking at it going, if we forget the Champions League or even the Europa with the current squad the way it is, we still need to strengthen those positions. But at the same time, as Heavy Vibes is saying here, we can't even beat the Hun in head-to-head games now. And with the
No.
current squad as it is at the moment, we not only do we have to try and qualify for the Champions League, we've got to go to Ibrox for the first Glasgow derby of the season. Like, what are they waiting for?
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating.
So we'll get some questions up. I'll go through them. There's a heap of comments there, so keep them coming, everyone. We appreciate it. So Square Sausage Mick is saying, would Lorwell or Nicholson get a job at Brugge or Benfica? How do we do it? Hell no, hell no, hell no. No chance. Lorwell probably has a good rep at the European Club Association, but no. So yeah, that's that one. And he doesn't mean cleaning the toilet. Yeah, we'll leave the lavvy cleaning and stuff for the Huns, right?
Yeah.
Mel the Glove is saying Scott Brown about 2 games away from getting the sack at Ayr, so forget him. That's the sort of signing the club would want, though, wouldn't it? They pointed Lenny in the showers, so
Yeah.
they wouldn't care.
I think I think we need to calm down a little bit. Scott Brown's 2 games away from getting the sack at Ayr. I hear people saying Don Cowie's on a sticky wicket at Ross County and that. 2 games into the season, you know what I mean? There's more than enough time to turn that around. Bruni's Bruni is going to be a good manager, and he probably will be Celtic manager one day. Just because he's had the opening 2 games of the championship hasn't gone his way. Same with Don Cowie at Ross County. It's only 2 games, you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. That's a very, very competitive league, you know what I mean? And there'll be points won and points dropped all over the place in there. There's plenty of time for moving and shaking in that division.
Just going through some comments here, Willie. Sorry, completely
Yeah,
lost you for a sec there, but
that's all right.
Pinball saying, "Where's Roberto Martinez?" He's apparently the Portuguese manager. T. How hail? Do you think Jamie Vardy would be good business? Couldn't be a lot worse at the moment. I know he's about 37, still smashing his Red Bulls and coffee pre-game and punching darts and breaking hearts and all that sort of stuff. So get him
Uh,
in.
he's not out to score goals and make his own fans happy. He's just out to ruin other people's weekends, isn't he? You know what I mean?
That's
That's what
exactly
it
what we
all
need
is.
for Ibrox, isn't it?
Shushing their fans and all that.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be against it for one season sort of thing. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Get him in on like an Aaron Moyes sort of contract. That's all we need. Bring him in, then put Johnny Kenny on loan for 12 months. Happy days. There you go. Covered it. Figured it out.
But again, that would be that's just low hanging fruit, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? That's just cop out from the board if they go and do something like that. Where's the scouting? Where's the planning? Where's the forward thinking in this? They've just, like I say, they're just reaching out and grabbing a bit of low hanging fruit to try and appease the fans with that one.
Yep. Bring up a comment here from McLaughlin. Who calls Celtic Park Parkhead? I do. I just refuse to call it Parkers. Anyone who calls it Parkers is an absolute flog, but calling it Parkhead, yep, I do.
I call it I've started using Parkers. I hated it at first. It's kind of crept into my vocabulary now, and I'm just like, why is this happening to me? Why am I using this? This isn't right. And it just slips out now and again. I'm just like, oh. It's been in the group chat. Nobody's ever dagged me up on it in the group chat. I'm like, oh, I've
Don't
got away
worry,
with
you're going to cop it one day, Willie.
that.
So it's yeah. So we're just going through a few more of the questions here. Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a heap of comments in there saying we need Vardy. Some people laughing. Vardy's not so far fetched, I don't think. Here we go, McLaughlin. Vardy, Sterling, Chiesa, Bachatek, whatever you say it. Funny thing is, right? I was looking today, and you know how we had a really start of last season, we had like 40-man squad going in and then we like cut it back. We cut heaps last off season.
Yeah,
So have a look today. Chelsea have 54 players, and they got this whole list of new signings, those that need to go, those who need to come in, and there's all sorts of players on there. And I'm just like, don't let the Celtic mob see that, because I'll probably try and loan about 3 of them to just the
yeah.
board just to cover it and keep their money in their pocket. Oh, here we go about Jamie Vardy. Imagine that mental wife up here. She'd fit right in, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got McLaughlin saying Brendan Rodgers leaves next summer along with Vardy and Schmeichel. New manager comes in for the rebuild. That'd suit the board. What else we got here? And then Andrew Gallet saying Yamada and Inamura have come out of a strong J League and in a mid-season fit, yet they don't seem to be getting a look in. Yeah, I don't get it. Like the thing with Yamada, right, that irritates me is apparently that was agreed to in January. Like we tried to get him into Bikyogo's replacement when he left for Rennes. Didn't happen. And then if that's the case, why wouldn't you have him in the first day the window opened? Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, here we go. Square sausage Mick. I have to just for fun. Messi for one season. Yeah. So how these comments are off their chops. There you go. Anyway, we'll leave that there. We'll there you go. Had to. Starkers in Parkers. Scales always losing his markers. It's all happening. And then Pegleg saying go Starkers and Parkers in protest. Still happening.
Uh,
Everyone's lost the plot. I love it. So yeah, basically on Friday night, so Saturday morning, we've got Falkirk in the League Cup. How you feeling heading into the match, Willie?
Pretty confident. I don't think Falkirk are. They gave us a bit of a tough game last season when we played them in the cup, but we saw them off eventually. And I'm looking at the squad. I've got it open up in Mob at the minute. I'm looking at the squad. That I don't see anything in there that is going to really trouble us too much. Like Scott Baines in goals, for fuck's sake. I mean, this will be his fourth game of the season, fourth game of the season. He needs. I don't know. Is he charging overtime rates for that or what? Like, you know what I mean? He's already conceded more goals in those games than he does usually in a normal season too. So, but shots from distance too, because he has spilled a few for us. So when he does get a game, he does have a gaff in him. So I'll be taking shots from distance. But I don't see anything in that squad that should give us any trouble. Like,
Don't get me started. I'm just having a look at their squad now, right? Oh, don't get me started. Fucking Arfield.
uh,
Former
but
Celtic young kid Calvin Miller's there too.
yeah, apparently Ismail Sorrow's training with him.
Wow. I forgot the Baniac went there. The Bainzo went there. So all these Baniac fans at Celtic Park will, be out there cheering on him, cheering on the old mate, the bus driver out to Lennoxtown. So it'll be interesting. I agree, Pegleg. This would be the game to start the two Japanese lads, 100%.
Mm.
And then Smell the Glove saying Falkirk don't have a lot of pace about them. Brian Graham up front. So, yeah, what I'm looking at going is my general thoughts. We should get the job done. We'll get out there. But, yeah, I'd just be wanting to I think at our place, if we can get an early goal, it'll be a high-scoring game. What do you reckon, Willie?
I reckon we can get 3 or 4 goals here quite easy, like and quite comfortably. Like, and I think if we get an early goal, we could get 3 before half time.
Happy days. So, what are you thinking starting lineup?
For me, I would be having Sinisalo in goals. I would go with Johnson, CCB, Trusty, and Inyamura. I would go with Kalmak, Hitati, and Engels in midfield, with Nigren on one ring, Yang on the other, and Yamada up front, just to get a little bit of rest into some legs before the Champions League qualifier. I would probably keep KT, the left side, Maida and KT fit for that game because we will be needing them at Parker's for the big game against Kiryat.
Yeah. So we've got McLaughlin saying 4-0. Paul Galani saying 5-0. McLaughlin saying Sinisalo, Ralston, Trusty, Pusi, Inamura, McGregor, Engels, McCowan, Yang, Kenny, Maeda. I would only have one change on that there. I would have Maeda out, and I would probably be having, I was going to say, maybe Tilio. But at the same time, I was actually wanting to have, I reckon, there's a game for Eder to get out there and get a couple of goals and do a bit of that sort of stuff. So I reckon Eder would be in there. For me, score for me, yeah, we'll do them 4-1. And yes, Peg, like we all know you want Pussy. So yeah, overall, I'm thinking there'll be quite a few changes. Get out there. It'll be good to see some of the other players. Wouldn't mind seeing Bernardo. See what he's happening with him. Get Engels out there for a start. Yeah, should be an interesting game overall. So yeah, happy days. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I think we'll wrap the pod up there. If you haven't done so, hit like on the video, share it around, subscribe if you haven't done so either. Appreciate the support. Willie, get a final thought from you before we wrap up the pod.
Yeah, final thought for me is the wife's birthday weekend, so we're going to a Texas Lone Slow Barbecue, which I am really looking forward to. So, nom, 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 nom.
So, Willie, those tops you've been buying on DH gate, you probably need to go up another 2 sizes after that.
I don't think we go any higher.
Happy days, yeah. So for me, my final thought is really simple. Fuck the board, basically. A bunch of miserable pricks.
Yeah.
Big week ahead. So, yeah, we'll see you on Monday after the weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.